Welcome to the Painted Toad. Today we're going to be painting a garden bunny. This will be acrylic on canvas and I'll walk you through step by step. Let's get going on the painting. So I'm just going to do something real simple, just something kind of cute. I'm just going to sketch in some of my ideas here. We're going to do a little fence in the background. This is going to be our little garden. And I'm going to add a little poofy bunny behind here. So it's going to be a back view of our bunny. Just something fun, something cute for spring, for the Easter holiday if you're celebrating Easter bunnies, things like that. Okay, I'm going to do a couple little carrots here. And sometimes with these, I paint right away, but I did a little sketch on this one. I just wanted to get an idea of what I wanted my composition to look like. I did a few little sketches here, and this is the one I liked the most. So lucky you, this is the one you get to see. And whenever I do sketches, you know, a lot of artists do this. We call it a thumbnail sketch. So a thumbnail sketch is just a quick sketch of what it is you're going to paint or something like that. Just gives you an idea. Here's my couple of ideas. Cute little bunnies. Hopefully you can see all that. And I decided to do the top one. So we got the fence in the background. Got my garden. I'm going to start first, I think, with a little bit of the background here. The ground. So let's get some, I've got some raw umber brown, which is like a dark brown. I'm going to add that in, and let's see, maybe a little bit of this Naples yellow, just to give it a little bit of a, this is just kind of a golden beige yellow. It's called Naples yellow. Kind of a creamy yellow. I'm just going to take a little of both of those, put them on my brush, and I'm going to paint this here, just kind of going back and forth. This is where my garden's going to be. So this is my garden dirt. And all of this, you know, I'm painting over the little things I sketched, but I just really needed to sketch those in just to figure out where I wanted to place the bunny. I'm going to go around the bunny. I could paint right over all of this, but for today, I'm going to go around the bunny so that I don't have to do a masking layer here to get the little bunny painted in. I'm just taking a flat brush, a little bit of the yellow, a little bit of the brown, and we're going over these details here. I think I'll also leave where my carrots are. I'm going to kind of work my way around those. I want this to be fast for today because I'm just doing a little audio video check here. So I don't need to do a super long video to get this to work. Plus, we'll see how this all turns out here. Okay, let's get this side over here. It's a little dark. Let me add a little more of the yellow. Anytime it gets too dark, you can always just go back on top, add a little bit of yellow. It's easy peasy. So I do love painting little bunnies. I've been doing several. If you've been watching my page, you have seen quite a few little bunnies this time of year. I have two little bunnies, Marshmallow and Cream Puff. They are blue-eyed white mini Rex bunnies. So they're white bunnies and they have blue eyes. They call it the Vienna gene. So it's in their genetic code to have blue eyes. I'm just going to paint this a little bit darker here, our foreground. And I'll add more texture to this later once I get the carrots painted in and all that, but for now I'm just going to paint it with a little bit of this burnt umber brown. There we go. And if you're doing this at home, if you decide to try this painting yourself, I'm just doing this on a 5x7 canvas, very small. If I like it, I might paint it on something bigger. But this is a great little practice size, kind of test out a painting, see how it works out. You don't need large brushes when you're doing this style here. I think what I'm going to do now, oh, I got to get between his ears. Don't forget the ears. We'll get a little bit of this yellow and brown in there. I'm not too worried about it being perfect. I can go back and fix those edges later when I paint the ears in. This brush is a little big, but I'm working with it. You can always change your brush size. So there is most of our background. If you're just joining me, this is Rose from the Painted Toad, and we are painting a garden bunny in the garden. I don't know about you. I love to garden, mostly vegetables. I'd love to flower garden too, but we we have chickens, and our chickens kind of wrecked all of my flowers because they like to dig into everything. So eventually I am hoping to get back to doing some flowers and landscaping in and around the house now that our chickens have a large fenced-in area to roam and they don't have to tear up my yard. Which I loved free-ranging my chickens, but I didn't love how they would dig in the dirt. They take dust baths, so they would dig in the dirt and then they would shake it all off of my front porch. So whenever we had visitors, there'd be like dirt and dust all over the front porch. So I didn't like that with my chickens. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just taking some burnt umber and a little bit of white on my brush, and I'm doing a fence here. So instead of going horizontal like I did before, I'm going up vertical to get a wooden fence look. That is what I'm going for. And I need to bring that down a little. So you just take the brown and a little bit of white, and ooh, that's a bit too much brown. It's okay. This is acrylic, so if it doesn't turn out the way I want, I can always go back and paint over it. A little brown and white, come up here. So this is the little garden fence in the background. Don't worry, we're going to brighten this up soon enough. Add some flowers, some vegetation, but for right now we're just getting all the background in. We got the dirt. This is kind of how the garden looks right now. Dirt, mud, and not much growing yet. At least not here in Michigan where I am. But spring is here and all the growing things will be coming soon. Okay, there is the fence. So I'm going to soak my brush here, and while that's drying, this is kind of already dry down here. So I'm going to get my orange, and I pulled out all my brushes so I wouldn't have to go searching for them. But I'm going to get some orange. I'm going to do some carrot tops down here. I'm going to do a little bit more down here, though. This needs to come down. Didn't realize that didn't come down all the way. There we go. Okay, now I'll do those carrot tops. Now, generally, carrots wouldn't be growing yet this time of year, at least not where I live, but we're doing the cliche bunny in with the carrots. Yeah, this time of year, my bunnies, as soon as the dandelions come up, they love, I give them dandelion greens. I gather dandelion greens for them and they love it. And it's a very healthy snack for bunnies. I also like to give them some herbs from my herb garden. I've got some orange here. That is a really bright orange. So what I'm probably going to do to tone it down a bit is I'm going to take some of this Naples yellow, which is kind of that creamy yellow, with some of the orange. So I've got that on my brush. I'm going to try some orange. We'll see how this turns out. Let's see. Kind of tone it down a little bit. Won't be such a crazy orange. And if you notice, I'm kind of curving this a little bit because the carrots are supposed to be rounded. So we'll just do some curves. There we go. And I'm also going to let me get a little bit more of that beige in there just to tone down that orange. We don't need it that bright. Get more of a creamy orange. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of this brown, just a touch. I don't really want too much on my brush because if I get too much, then the whole carrot's going to turn brown. So I'm just going to take a little brown and kind of run it through the wet paint that's already there. Just kind of do a couple streaks here just to give it a little carrot texture, a little bit of dirt. So my dad he still gardens. He had 3 gardens. I think he's down to 2 now, but they're still really big. And he always, you know, did carrots. He does carrots. He just gave me some last week still. He's digging up carrots. But when you grow your own, it's not all, clean and shiny like they are in the bag at the store. They are dirty. And I don't know, there's just a different taste with my dad's carrots coming right out of the ground. They just have this earthy taste to them, which I like. Maybe some people wouldn't like that, but I do like that. There we go. Just trying to get a little bit of, there we go. Trying to get this to streak a little bit. I think it's a little damp over there. I don't know why that one's not working as well, but it'll be fine. Okay. So if you're joining me, it's Rose from Painted Toes. Say hi. Checking out my audio-visual equipment. I've got some new equipment today, testing it out, and having some fun painting a little bunny in the garden. So I'm going to go up here. Let's see. This is pretty dry, so I'm going to work in the middle. Usually when I do a painting, I try to work around different areas based on what's dry and what isn't. Sometimes I pull out the hairdryer to speed up the process. That's always a nice little thing to have handy. In fact, I don't even really use my hairdryer anymore on my hair. It just stays down here in my studio. I like to just let my hair dry. Air dry. That's what I do. Okay, I'm getting this is a dark green. If you don't have dark green, you could always take a little bit of a regular classic green or cadmium green, add a little bit of black to it to get a dark green. So I've got some dark, and I'm also going to add, let's see. I think I'm going to I've already got a touch of this white and a touch of that yellow on there, and I think I'm going to use that. And so I'm going to add just a little bit of, let's see here. I think I want to do my round brush. I think I'm going to do my round brush and just add some little textured, non-distinct shrubs and plants. So I'm going to take some of this dark green. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of this cream, maybe a little white. We'll see what happens here. And we'll just add some little shrubs over here in the background. I have nice even rows in this garden. Something that I am not very good at. When I plant, my rows are never even. I mean, some people get real specific and they put out stakes and rope and all that to get even rows, and I just eyeball it and it's usually crooked. But hey, it grows. The things grow. That's the most important part. All right, so then we got some little shrubs back here. Maybe we'll add, this is getting pretty dry here, so I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm just going to add a little along the fence here, kind of add some, oh, maybe there's some arborvitaes or something like that. We'll add some plants up here. There we go. Now if your paint is still a little wet back there, that's fine. You can still mix a little bit. It'll give it some color and some dimension. Just add in some shape. If I want to brighten that up, I can take a little bit of white in there or a little bit more of this Naples yellow and kind of brighten it up. And these are just non-distinct shapes. I'm just making it up as I go along. Sometimes if you get too particular about trying to make it look super realistic, then you just end up getting frustrated. So for me, I just enjoy putting the paint on the canvas, just blob it in there. This is a lot more relaxing, a lot more fun. Anytime I try to make something look realistic, I end up getting frustrated because it just doesn't look the way I want it. So I enjoy painting like this more, where you're just having fun throwing the paint on the canvas and not worrying too much about getting every detail perfect. So we got some little shrubs back there. Let's see. It's coming along. Okay. I think I need to brighten it up just a tad. We need something a little brighter here to brighten this. This is pretty dark garden. So what if I did, I'm going to take a little bit of regular yellow here. I still got some of my dark green. So I'm going to use this and just add some more color areas that are a little brighter. So maybe this is a little something else. It's still pretty dark. Let me add more yellow. And if you're just joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad, testing out some audio-visual equipment. Say hello. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Do you have big plans this weekend for spending time with your family, celebrating the holidays? Our family celebrates Easter, and we are going to have a big breakfast tomorrow. That's kind of one of our traditions. We'll be doing an egg hunt at Grandma's house. So that's in the works. We usually color eggs, but we didn't do that this year. I don't know if we're gonna do it this year or not. We'll have to find out. I'll have to see. All right, what else? This needs a little more color, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a touch of red, maybe to get a different a different touch of red, maybe to get a different color in there. So I'm going to add just a bit of red here. I'm checking out the audio visual and it's looking pretty good. Does that look good to you? Can you see everything? I like how I'm seeing some of the details of the painting a little bit better. Oh, how about I do... Hey, I'm doing a live. What do you need? My husband's just coming in to check on me, see how my video equipment is working. He set it all up for me, so I am very grateful. He's my techie guy. I can be pretty techie, but he's more techie than I am. So here's a little unknown thing for a lot of people. Whenever you want to add shadows or something like that, or a little bit of variation of color, you can use a color's complement. So red is the complement of green, and by adding a little bit of red in these bushes back here gives them a little bit of shadowing. So you can do that. Don't have to use black for shadow. You can use color, complementary colors, to add some shadows and things like that. Okay, so let me rinse this out, and I'm going to actually paint my little bunny. He's already white, but I am going to paint over him with some more white to fill all that in. Add a bit of white. Now I could do a little wild bunny, but because I've got a lot of brown going on in this painting here in this garden, I think that I'm going to keep this bunny white so he stands out. So he's going to look like my little bunnies do. I will add a little bit of color, give him some texture here. Be careful of this bush, otherwise he's going to have a green ear because that little shrub back there is still wet. And I feel like there needs to be some more color in here. You know what we might need in the background? I think we could use maybe some flowers back there, maybe a little border by the shrubs, maybe some tulips. So let me go in and just going to add some color back there. See if I can't brighten it up just a touch. And I'm just painting this on a whim, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Sometimes I practice before I paint, but sometimes I don't. And in this way, you can kind of see my whole process, like what I go through to get it to work out the way I want. Still feel like there needs to be more in this garden. As we get farther and farther back, there's got to be more things growing. It's too much empty space. Of course, it is a spring garden, so not much would be growing yet, but I'm going to add a bit more here just to give us something to look at. Okay. And let's see. I want to I'm going to let that dry just a touch up there. I'm going to add a little bit more down here. I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of random green in here, something growing. A little bit darker. Let's add in some green growing stuff. In my garden every year, I love zucchini, and not everybody in my family does. And so sometimes I forget and I'll get a zucchini, like one zucchini plant from the greenhouse, or from the plant nursery, but it'll have three little plants in the little thing, and sometimes I'll plant all three. I think one year I planted like 6 of them, and if you know anything about zucchini, it goes crazy when you grow it. And so everyone gets annoyed at me when I do that because then we have like a bazillion zucchini, and then I do everything zucchini. Zucchini relish, zucchini muffin, zucchini bread, zucchini spaghetti with zucchini in it, like everything has zucchini. And a couple of my daughters and my husband's not truly a big fan of the zucchini, so they're always like, stop planting so much zucchini. I'm going to brighten up these shrubs just a touch more back here so they stand out from our background. Otherwise, they're kind of blending into the fence a little. So it's all about layering, adding color, layering. Just kind of play around with it, see what you can come up with. Try to keep my hand tilted here too so you can actually, I'm just kind of dabbing the paint on there, so sorry if you can't see that. Sometimes I forget to look and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Just dabbing some paint on there. I'll go back in with a little more of the dark green, maybe just do a touch more on there. Doo-doo. If you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad, and I'm testing out the new audio-visual equipment and painting a bunny in the garden. All right. Now that we got that done, I'm going to add something to my bunny here. Let me rinse my brush. And I think with my little bunny, I'm just going to do, I've got some, where did I put it? I've got like a buttermilk color, or I could use that Naples yellow. I could do that. Let me look, just one second. Okay. All right, this is some craft paint. So I've got some khaki, just Craft Smart paint. And I'm going to use that to mix with some white just to add a little color on the bunny. You can tell it's a bunny, but needs a little bit of something on it. So let's see here. I'm going to get that a little bit more filled in. And then maybe I'm going to take a little bit of this white here and just kind of, not white, khaki, what am I saying? Just to get his shape in a little better. So I'm just adding a little bit of this khaki color. Oops, there, see what happened? I got a little green in there. That's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna let that dry. So there's a little bit of green in the ear. Let it dry. I'll go back over it later. Not worried at all. It happens. You can't stress out about that stuff. Otherwise, you'd never want to paint. And I think that's why a lot of people don't paint. They stress out too much. Don't stress. All right. Just adding some color here. A little bit of white and khaki. Just to give this bunny a little more dimension. I think that looks super cute. I could take a touch of the dark brown, but I don't want to do too much because if I do too much, then it's going to like take over. We don't want it to take over, just adding in some color here. And if you notice, I'm using a round brush here, but I'm kind of painting on a curve to keep the roundness of my bunny's body. It's got a little round rump. And this umber brown, it does add a touch of, it almost makes it look a little gray. And that's fine. I like that look. It just gives it a little dimension, a little bit of shading. Okay, I'm gonna let this bunny dry a bit. Let his ear dry. I'll fix that little green part on the ear. And I'm gonna come back here. This is still slightly wet, but we're gonna add some color back there. We need something colorful. I'm thinking maybe some little tulips back there. Because we got a lot of green, we got a lot of yellow. So with all that green, you need some red. You need something to pop. So we need some complementary colors here. So I still have a little red left. I'm going to take a bit of magenta. I'm going to do some magenta and red. So magenta, red. I could also do red and orange. You know, tulips come in all different colors. And I'm just going to kind of do some blobs back here of color. So we've got some beautiful tulips. They come up every year in this garden in the springtime. And maybe these carrots, maybe this is a spring garden. Maybe these carrots are still left over from the winter. They overwintered. So you're still digging them out. Could have. I have to ask my dad about that. He's the expert. So this almost looks too perfect. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add in, you know, a couple other little tulip plants here. We don't want it too perfect. Then it won't look real at all. It'll be like the perfect garden. Though some of the gardens over in England, if you've ever seen pictures or if you've ever been there, they have beautiful gardens. There's a whole art to gardening itself. Here, that one's going to have 3. So add a bit of color on there. And let's see, what else can we add? I think that looks good. I'm wondering, I don't want to take too much longer in here. I do need to add a little bit along the bottom. This green is still wet. I'm gonna let that dry because I'm gonna do my little carrot tops. But it's still a bit wet. So I'm gonna add some texture down here in the bottom. And I'm gonna have fun with that. Let me see if I have my round brush. Yes. So I'm gonna use my bigger round brush here. We're gonna have some fun adding some texture in the bottom. And I'm going to take this dark brown I have. I might add a little black here. Give it some real earthy color. Don't need a lot. And I'm going to just take the brown with a tiny bit of black and just kind of swirl my brush here and add some earth. So I am just taking the round brush, swirling it around, adding a touch of black here and there. Can go over my bunny a bit. Because if you notice, there should be a carrot where that bunny is sitting, but I think the bunny ate the carrot, so that's what happened. And this is kind of interesting. Okay, so this is something I learned from my dad at a young age. We had a little wild rabbit that got into the garden. So the garden is all fenced off at my dad's house. Um, and a little wild rabbit got in there. And so my sister and I, we were so excited. We wanted to catch this poor little rabbit that was terrified. We were going to catch it in a laundry basket, so that we could get it out of the garden, protect all Dad's plants. But my dad said, nope, we're going to leave it be and we're going to see how it got into the garden. So instead of capturing it, we had to wait and see, because when he figured out how the rabbit got in, he fixed that part of the fence and then the rabbit couldn't get in anymore. So, just that patient, thoughtful way of thinking instead of like jumping right to conclusions and let's capture it and rescue the garden and probably keep the rabbit as a pet. We always were trying to do that kind of stuff as kids. At least I was. Now I have a bazillion animals, so my husband has to deal with that. But yeah, we found out where the hole was in the fence. My dad patched it up, and the rabbit couldn't get in anymore. So if you ever find a little rabbit in your garden, don't go crazy after it. Just figure out, watch where it goes in and out from. And then you can fix that spot. And they can dig. My rabbits dig. Not always, but once in a while they get in the mood to dig. And they almost dug outside of our chicken coop. Like they live in our chicken coop with our chickens, and they were under the chicken coop and they kept digging under there, and we didn't really realize they were digging, and they dug a hole outside, like you could see the other side of the grass and stuff. So we had to fill all that in. I don't know what got in. They don't always do that, but it's just something got into them. They just got in a digging mood, and that's what they did. All right, I want to have some fun with the little tail here. Let's make it poofy. So I'm going to use that big fat round brush again that I just got done using for the dirt. Let me rinse it out here because it's got a bunch of dark brown in it. And I'm going to dip this into, got a touch of green on there. I'm just going to kind of do a blob of paint here. If it's not cooperating, hold on. My brush is too damp. Let's try that again. I want a blob of white just to add some texture to where that bunny's little tail is. And then I'll take a touch of the burnt umber brown, not too much, but just give a little color in there just to kind of make that tail stand out just a bit. And this paint's real thick. I'm just kind of stirring it a little bit here just to give that little fluff ball a little shadow so you can see it. You see a little fluff puff ball? Okay, let me see. This is pretty dry, so we can do the tops of our carrots, and then this little painting will be done. This is a cute one. I'm glad I did this today. So I hope you're enjoying the painting. And hopefully when this is all done, I want to check and see how the image is coming across and all that. Because part of me thinks that it could just be our internet that is causing issues with my video upload speed and all of that. So I'm hoping not. All right, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking this white, a little bit of this dark green and yellow I still had on my palette, and I'm just kind of stirring it up, getting a color here. And I'm going to add some tops to my carrots. So I'm going to make these long. And these are going to go over. There we go. It can go in front of those other plants because these are closer to us. So it's going to go right over the top there. This one needs a little bit more white to it, I think. It's kind of blending, or maybe some dark green. And usually carrots are they have these little wispies, the carrot tops. It's a lot like parsley. They're very, I think they're cousin to parsley. So if you think of parsley, its carrot top is kind of like that. Just, yeah, green, dark green in there. Let's do some wispies here. Wispy little carrot tops. I'm just going to take some of the dark green just to get some more color in here. And just kind of dab in here a little bit. Our little wispy little carrot tops. And let's see how that looks. I'm thinking it looks pretty good. I'm going to go in and just add a touch more texture in the dirt. Let's see. I think I used most. Oh, no, I still have some brown here. Just going to use the burnt umber brown. Maybe a touch of this light green. Just kind of go in and add a little bit of texture back here. Let's give it a little bit more. So you can't see my brush strokes so much. I'm just taking the round brush and just smooshing that around. And then I'll take a touch of white. I'm just going to add a small highlight on the carrots here. So I mix a little bit of white in with the orange. I could do straight up white, but if you do that, then it doesn't quite blend as well. So okay. Ugh, brush is wet. So annoying when that happens. Always make sure your brush is dry. I'm not really exactly happy with this part, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my paint still wet, take my paper towel and just pull that off. Just like that. And then I'll go back in with my orange and white and fix it the way I want it to look. Yeah, that little carrot over there is just being a stinker. It's fine. He'll be fine. Sometimes I over focus. It's okay, just leave it be. You know what else we need in this? We need some little white moths, I think. They're not actually something you'd want to see in your garden. Like they do the. You ever get broccoli worms on your plants, or you know, a lot of little butterflies and moths will lay their eggs on your garden plants, but that's part of the way Mother Nature works. So let's add some of those little moths in there. And I'm looking at it and I think it looks okay. Maybe touch of white. Sorry, I'm whispering. I'm kind of talking to myself here. Let's see. I need a little bit more of this white. Just to brighten up some of this carrot tops. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it. Don't touch it anymore. Okay, so this is Rose from the Painted Toad, and this is a what did I call it? Garden bunny. Little bunny in the garden. Fun little spring painting. Yeah, if you want to know what colors I used, just let me know in the comments and I'll post a color list. And I hope you enjoyed the painting. Wishing you a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the holiday. And thanks for stopping in. Remember, be creative, be artistic, and get connected at the Painted Toad. For more how to paint videos like this one, make sure you like and subscribe to The Painted Toad. You can also find us on Facebook at The Painted Toad or our website, www.paintedtoad.com.